Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, yeah. Feel the bounce. Get your body moving. First Sky Omaha Radio, come on. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. That's me talking to myself. Wake up, wake up. Monday morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Woo! What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Wake up, wake up, wake up. First Sky Omaha Radio. This show is dedicated to you.
Hey.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thanks for joining us once again. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich.
Hey.
On this Monday, May 23rd, 2022. Good morning to all. What's going on with y'all? I'm happy to see that y'all up on this Monday morning. How y'all feeling? What's going on with you? It's feeling like a Monday to me in a big way, but
definitely.
Yeah. Get any rest over the weekend? Let us know. All right, we get some heads in. What's going on? I got a lot of Facebook users here. Let me go ahead and jump on the friends of and see what's going on over here.
Top of the morning to y'all. Not quite sure who you are, but hey, welcome.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
We're gonna see.
Oh man, we got Chicken DB in the house over here on the Friends of First Sky. What's going on, bro?
What's good, bro?
Good morning, man. He says, I love when I get to tune in. Yeah, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Top of the morning to you.
That's what's happening. We got Brooke Allen. Brooke Allen's over there on YouTube. I mean on Facebook. Okay. What's happening? Appreciate you.
See Brother Chico working on some music, man. Looking forward to it.
That's what's up. Judy Printer says Monday already. Morning, fam. Yeah, it's Monday already. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Melvin Muhammad says Assalamu alaikum, family and friends.
Alaikum salam, brother.
Alaikum salam, brother. How you doing, brother? Also, Leia Keister says marvelous Monday to you. Okay.
Hey, top of the morning. Coming straight out of YouTube. Make sure, tell a friend and tell a friend we are on YouTube. Go ahead, link, subscribe, click that notification button so when we go live, you get notified. And go ahead and tell a friend, man. We still are pursuing that 1,000 mark for our subscribers on YouTube. So help us.
we gotta play a little bit of YouTube tricks to try to get some new folks in. Try to trap some new folks in to see if they like what's going on. So what I really like about this though is that it's very Omaha. It's Omaha based. So the thing about it is we need to spread the word in Omaha because we're having really Omaha discussions.
Oh yeah.
So that's what's going on, man. Gotta make it happen that way. What's happening? Brooke said, oops, was on the wrong one. Yeah, I saw you over there on Friends of. Wanda Lewis says the link only shows up for Friends of First Sky, not First Sky Omaha. Yeah, there may be something on your end there because we got a lot of people coming in on First Sky. Try to refresh your page there and see what's going on there. Willie Williams says, good morning. See you soon. What's happening? Southwest correspondent. What's going on with you? Thanks for tuning in this morning.
Juneteenth heating up.
Yeah, man. Brother Muhammad says, doing well, brothers. Hope all is well with you and your families. Yeah, appreciate you, man. We trying to hanging in there. Yep. So thanks for joining us. Also, I want to give a shout out to the 630 crew over there on the radio channel as well. If you don't know, you can go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the listen button, and there's a digital radio station over there that we're broadcasting live right now. The rest of the time it's music and some other shows. As a matter of fact, Stuart Chittenden just had his last show with Jonathan Benjamin Alvarado. We've been rocking with him for about 5 years now, and he's moving on to bigger and better things. And we're talking about doing reconnecting on season 4 in a different way. So I'm really looking forward to these new iterations of stuff.
Yeah,
and
For those who aren't familiar with Stuart Chittenden, definitely check him out. Squish Talks is this platform. Yeah, man, he's a master conversationalist and talks to just about any and everybody in the city, man. So yeah, definitely check him out.
For sure. I see I got Michelle Moreno that's over on Friends of First Sky Omaha. What's happening? Mark Manor gives us a good morning. Good morning to you too, bro. Yeah, man. Everybody's up and at 'em on a Monday. That's what's up.
Yeah, what'd you get into over the weekend? Did you come across any of the haps? Did you show up? Let us know. How was your weekend? Get into anything eventful?
So Noma had a huge festival that was like a 12-hour festival Saturday. And every band that you can think of in Omaha pretty much played this thing. They blocked off the street on 24th and Lake, and it had a huge deal. So all the musicians are saying it was a success. It was a cool show and everything. I didn't really see how many people was out there, but I did get a couple calls. People saying, "Hey, it's going down. Come out. Why don't you come out?" And I had other plans, but look, Judy Prinzen went to Noma Fest.
Okay,
She said it was great. That's what's up. I saw some footage of Big Wade and the Black Swan Theory. Man, they get better every time, man. They be doing their thing on stage.
Man, yeah, definitely one of my favorite bands. Just period, man. Not just out of Omaha, but just period. Also, Facebook user says Noma Fest was dope. Closed the show in Benson. Excited to see the big arts in Omaha. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Yeah, haven't really seen, historically too much investment in the arts Omaha. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. That was DeJuan Lamont Hayes that's over there in Friends of First Sky that said that Noma Fest was dope. That's what's up, man. Yeah, close show in Benson. Okay, yeah. I wonder what that was going on in Benson there. I didn't see that.
Man, I'm kind of surprised to see so many people because I didn't really hear too much about it. I think the only mention I heard of the Noma Fest was in an article that we had talked about. Like it said some I think some of the Habitat for Humanity people will be out there or something like that.
Oh, right. Yeah, something's up. I'm not sure. But yeah, it turned out. I guess it turned out really well. Like I said, every musician that I know pretty much played it. It was out there, so that's what's up. Rome's reviews. What's going on? Mayor Sanchez said he did yard work this weekend. He also said that's what he said. He's also sharing what's going on Facebook. So yeah, do me a favor, and if you're listening to us on Facebook, share the show on your page so we can get as many people talking as we can. Yeah. And also if you're on YouTube, thanks for that. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and tell a friend so we can keep this rolling.
All that.
That's right. DeJuan says June is about to be a huge month for the arts here. Very true. Lots going on in June.
Yeah.
Which
got Freedom Fest coming up.
Yeah.
I saw they just announced the lineup. I'm not sure the name of the festival, but I know Lala. Big shout out to Lajia McKenzie. Yeah. She's a part of the organization of that. Saw a few heads on the flyer. So of course we got
this one here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the Juneteenth Joy Fest.
There you go.
Yeah, big shout out to Lala, the Fabric Lab, Union for Contemporary Arts, North Omaha Trail. Yeah, all of that.
I see Alicia is on Friends of First Sky. She said, "Good morning, sunshines. Good morning to you, sis. Appreciate you."
Hey.
Christy Norris over there too says it was a lot of fun. He was out there at the Noma Fest, huh?
Okay, so got a couple chat chimers out there showing up, man. How did y'all hear about it? Because it was kind of new. I think I was on Facebook and I just saw the stage set up and I was like, whoa, what they got going on 24th? What is this about?
My sister said the same thing. She passed by. She's like, "Looks like they about to do something big over there. Have you heard about it?" And I'd forgotten already all about it.
So you did hear about it?
I heard about it very, like the day or two before. Like I said, people started calling me, asking me if I was going to be there. So yeah, interesting stuff, man. But Manny about town inside in the chat right now is calling the one. He's the one, of course, that I'm very excited about. He said June 5th, though. Yeah, June 5th for real, bro.
What's going down June 5th? Let them know.
Martin Family Trio is going to be in the house, bro. Yeah, and it's an Allen Showcase Group event as well. And the Allen Showcase Group, First Sky Omaha, and Benson Theater present Martin Family Trio. Is going down one night only. Terrace Martin will be in town. You heard it here first. Tickets gonna go on sale this afternoon, and I'm gonna put it in Friends of First Sky Omaha first so that you guys can get access because it's gonna sell out.
Exclusive.
It's gonna sell out. Yeah, man.
So if you aren't a member, go ahead, go over to Facebook, join that Friends of First Sky group. Do yourself a favor, tap in, and join the conversation, man. Get you some early access. And we are working on doing more things. For all the chat chimers, everyone who has been supporting us over this time, we really appreciate y'all and looking forward to providing more opportunities like this in the future. So again, if you're not a member of Friends of First Sky Omaha, please go join that so you can get early access to those Terrace Martin tickets, because it's going to go down, man. Go ahead and treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself.
That's what's up. Hey, Chicken DB, I appreciate you, man. He's over there on YouTube. Said he just subscribed to the YouTube.
Hey,
he said he need those tickets. Yeah, man. I'm gonna let our people know when it goes, as soon as it goes on sale, man, so you can grab those for real. Also, a Facebook user over here, and I'm thinking that this is Miss Erica Felt. So good morning to you. She says, I went to eat the most delicious Venezuela food and good friends since the itis surprised me with being closed. Yeah, I don't want to talk about my man's business out here, but yeah, the itis is closed.
Like closed?
Yeah, like closed. Yeah.
Oh dang, man.
Yeah, man. One of my favorite places in Omaha. So that was very, very unexpected and disappointing for sure. Speaking of food, though, I did hook up with Brother Lavelle Wells the other day and picked up some Indian tacos and all that good stuff. And that was, I'm glad he had a successful day. It seemed like he had a very successful day there.
Okay, a lot of people came out.
A lot of people came out to support, man. So that's what's up. Got to support the brother for real. Brooke says, I just want to shout out Van's character on the latest episode of Atlanta. That character is how I always imagine myself in Paris.
See, I fell back. I gotta catch up. I missed that one. Yeah, I missed that one.
It's you not like Atlanta is it's a genius show.
Yeah, man.
And I gotta tell you, the last episode is just totally unexpected. I mean, the whole season.
Yeah, the whole
totally
season is crazy. Yeah, like even the episodes that have nothing to do with Paperboy or Vern or
well, I'm gonna tell you what, you've been wondering what's going on with Van this whole time. You about to find out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah, cold-blooded. Also, Facebook users. That's Miss Erica Phil says Facebook changed my profile to being a page instead of a profile. Maybe that's why you can't see me. Interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Let's go ahead and we got a lot of special guests coming in today, so let's go ahead and get started and start talking.
Man, I didn't even realize it was like 8:13, man, or 13 past the hour. Well, before we get into that, you doing all right, Paul? You good?
I'm hanging, man. I'm hanging in there. Yep.
Okay.
Worked a lot this weekend, but that's par for the course.
Yeah, weekend kind of flew by for me. Didn't get much sleep, but we're here. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this thing rolling, man. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. A lot of the chat chimers already feeling real chatty, real chimey. So we appreciate y'all. Keep up with that. Let's keep it up. We are here for the next 2 hours. So we're just getting started. As Paul mentioned, we do have a few special guests. It is Monday, so expect your kind of rotation of local journalists to come through and give us some updates with some of our favorite platforms. We have a new name, actually, Brother Arjav, coming from the Reader. He will be replacing Leia, so he's going to kind of introduce himself. We're going to kind of get a feel for him and get to know him a little more.
Also, Leia, that's right. She's taking off.
Yeah. She's going to Rutgers. So we will be meeting her replacement today. Also, we will be speaking with Kietryn Zychal of Noise Omaha to get an update on the things that they have going on and continuing to tap in with the partners over there. And then, of course, Flatwater Free Press. I believe Matt Wynn or Matt Hansen. Which Matt
Wynn? Matt Wynn's in the house today.
Okay. Matt Wynn, the man with the data, the dude in the numbers. So we'll definitely talk to all of them today to get an update on exactly the work that they're doing, trying to tell the stories that need to be told. Speaking of telling stories that need to be told, we do have several other articles to dive into today. Definitely going to talk about this latest story out of Flatwater Free Press about this Ohio-based property company that's been just gobbling up all the property. I mean, hundreds of properties in the last 30 or so months have been purchased by this out-of-town company. So we'll kind of talk about what's going on with that and how it's impacting the housing market in our city, especially in areas like North and South Omaha. Now, also, I'll be diving into some childcare things. Apparently, there's some new decisions coming from new study coming from the Buffett Early Childhood Institute. Some people's favorite organization.
That whole sentence don't sound great.
Man, we'll talk about it, exactly what's going on with this new study and what's to come of it. Also, some prison reform conversations happening, and then of course we definitely have to dive into this latest Nebraska Supreme Court ruling on meatpacking workers. If you remember, the meatpacking fight or meatpacking plants are one of the main battlegrounds during the pandemic, and now the Nebraska Supreme Court coming up with a ruling. So we'll be talking about that and more. Of course, if there's anything on your hearts, your minds that we're not discussing that you feel like we should be, let us know. In the meantime, in between time, let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. Paul, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. Let's go.
Let's do it. Good morning. Once again, thanks for joining us. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, all of you, the chat chimers. It is Monday, the 23rd, 2021. 22.
Oh.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to go back in time. 23, 22. And and shout out to everybody that's on the radio channel listening to us as well. Shout out to all of you on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, please do us a favor and share the show. And I really appreciate that on your page. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe and all that good stuff over there. So thanks for everybody that's joining us. If you're on Twitter, do the same thing. Give us a like, a heart, or whatever they do over there on Twitter. Because I did notice a couple people over there watching us. So appreciate you very much. Josh Tays gives us a happy Monday, friends. What's going on, my brother? Happy Monday to you too as well. Yes, and if you're just joining us, we're talking about all the things that's happening, man. There's things that went on last weekend with the Noma Fest. Juneteenth Joy Fest is coming up. There's a whole bunch of everybody's trying to get outside and do some things in a big way. So we'll have an extensive haps a little later on today, or later on all this week. We'll have an extensive haps. Lots going on, so we'll be talking about it. And also stay tuned for special guests coming in as well from the Reader, from Noise, and from Flatwater Free Press. Our round of journalists coming in talking about what we are digging into recently, what's happening. So again, thanks for joining us, and I hope everybody's doing well. Let us know how your weekend went. Love to hear from you, and don't forget, chime in the chat. This is a conversation. This is a group storytelling session, so we definitely want to hear from you. In the meantime, between time, buddy, what's on your mind?
Well, we'll kick off today's show talking about this latest decision coming down from the Nebraska Supreme Court, ruling in favor of a meatpacking worker who's seeking unemployment. Again, as I mentioned, the meatpacking plants were one of the main battlegrounds, if you will, during the pandemic. As you know, some very, very disgusting, atrocious stories were coming out about how these employees are being treated. The worst of which, in my opinion, of course, where it was the pool, the betting pool coming out of, I believe, the Tyson meatpacking plant. Where the managers they had an actual bet going to see who would catch COVID and possibly pass from it first. They were betting on that. Just sick. And now the latest update in this situation, a former Omaha meatpacking plant employee who was initially denied unemployment benefits after he was fired for refusing to perform the job duties of two people will likely receive retroactive benefits thanks to the Nebraska Supreme Court. Ruling in the employee's favor, the court, in an opinion published Friday, also clarified what had only been implied in prior rulings in a disputed claim for unemployment benefits, where an employer says that an employee was fired for misconduct. The employer bears the burden of proving the misconduct. You can't just say anything, you have to prove it. The employee worked as a meat cutter at the JBS Swift beef plant in Omaha from January 2019 until May 2020. That's when a supervisor instructed him to fill in for a coworker who was out sick with COVID-19 on top of doing his own job. When he refused, he was suspended from 1 week. When he returned to work after a second suspension, he was informed that he had been fired for insubordination. In turn, he applied for unemployment through the Nebraska Department of Labor. The department found that he left his job voluntarily and without good reason, making him ineligible for unemployment benefits. He appealed the decision to the Nebraska Appeals Tribunal, which is an administrative body within the State Department of Labor. And at his hearing, he did explain that he was aware of JBS policy that did require employees to temporarily fill in for other positions if requested. He said he understood the requirement, but it would have been impossible to do what he was asked. He went on to say during the testimony, it was like I'm asked to do two jobs, to work in this position and to go and work in another position. The tribunal found that he had not left his job voluntarily and instead disqualified him from unemployment benefits on the grounds that he refused to work two jobs amounted to misconduct. So apparently it seems like they're just finding every reason not to pay this guy. But again, on appeal, it took him, again, filing an appeal with the Nebraska Supreme Court to successfully argue his case that there was insufficient evidence to support the claim that he was fired for misconduct. The court found that there was, in fact, no evidence to show the policy required an employee to work the jobs of two people, which, I mean, just thinking logically, you're cutting meat at a fast pace at a meat packing plant, which, again, wants to maximize output, and now they're asking you to do the job of two people. It's not safe, at all. And we actually kind of dove into this whole situation while it was happening because there were several bills presented by Senator Tony Vargas, put some respect on his name. And if you remember, Paul, we actually had a roundtable conversation with he and a few of the activists throughout the state of Nebraska who were, striving for some bills and some changes. And I believe there are even some lawsuits out there with some of these meatpacking companies to get their parents, to get the treatment that they deserve. Shout out to Chris Bowling, who actually this is kind of when we really got introduced to Chris's writing style, Chris Bowling, because he described, so vividly these meatpacking plants and just the blood-soaked gloves and masks and just some of the things that these meatpacking workers had to deal with. So it's definitely nice to see a W in this fight, if you will.
Yeah, I'm glad he got a win, and I hope it sets a precedent for other meatpacking workers to be able to complain about situations, circumstances, and make them kind of pay, make these companies pay, because they we had so many stories about how bad they treated them during the pandemic, especially really not making anything safe. And like you said, like that one company that was placing bets. I mean, it was just horrible stuff. So yeah, I'm glad this is a win. Definitely want to talk to Senator Tony Vargas, put some respect on his name, find out about how he's feeling about this, and and what this might mean for future lawsuits and things like that, for sure. Yeah. In the chat, Guillermo Enrique Pina Valaderas says Packer families are not disposable. Si se puede. Did I say that right? Tell me what it means too, please. So he's absolutely right. Not disposable, and they really get treated that way a lot. And it's been very apparent. And shout out to Senator Tony Vargas for bringing this to everybody's attention as well.
Remember, it was, Brother Vargas was directly impacted by this because his father and I believe his brother were meatpacking workers in New York, and his father died from COVID-19 while working in a meatpacking company. So, this definitely hit home for Brother Vargas, and we definitely appreciate him kind of opening up and sharing some of those experiences. And I am kind of curious about some of the legislation that was put behind that, because there were some, workers' rights and labor bills that were presented. And I don't know what the fate of those bills were. Actually,
Brother Valaderas in the chat says LB was not passed. We tried so hard, and Nebraska rejected meatpacker bills. And si se puede, it means yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and talking to a lot of the Latinx, Hispanic brothers and sisters, the Native brothers and sisters who have family members. A lot of them, some of them can't speak English, so they can't really defend themselves or argue, their stance. They're just kind of left to the mercy of these companies.
And also, we can also, we have to also acknowledge that a lot of them didn't speak up because they were afraid, because a lot of these companies will threaten deportation if they speak out against these things. They just think they're going to take it and not complain about anything. So, kind of takes people on the outside to step in and look out for the brothers and sisters there in those situations to make sure that their working conditions are right and really kind of help that situation out. So shout out to the Nebraska Supreme Court this time around for coming back through with a decision.
Got this one right. Definitely got this one right. The court also contemplated whether the request from JBS was reasonable. Excuse me. So in your point of setting precedent, in prior cases, the court has ruled that in order to prove misconduct, an employer must show that the rule or policy broken by the employee is reasonable. So not just that the rule exists, but that the rule itself is reasonable and serves the purpose of protecting business interest. So again, it has to be reasonable and protect business interests. So again, if anyone out there is working in a factory, working some kind of labor job, and you feel like you are being mistreated, definitely speak up.
Yep,
speak up. There are organizations willing to help.
Most def. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about Franklin Thompson is working in the city right now for those that very thing. He can do some he can help you do research. He can help you search it out if you're getting discriminated against because of race or any kinds of those factors. I can't think of what department he's in right now, but I'll look that up and put that in there. But that's a start because there's a team of people over there that can help you kind of dig through the data on that and present something for the courts. And so. Yeah, we have to definitely check it out. Brother Valaderda says discrimination and workforce mistreatment is a double-headed dragon that can never be put down in the face of racism. Yes, thank you for bringing that. Wynn, JBS almost killed my family.
Wow. Man.
It's rough, bro. Mir Sanchez says, my grandfather retired from Wilson Packing a long time ago, 30 years. Used to be where Kroc Center is now. The packing houses in South Omaha was the biggest employer for families in North Omaha. Yeah, absolutely. Dewan Lamont Hayes says the Department of Human Rights and Relations. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So Department of Human Rights and Relations, that's Franklin Thompson, and he can definitely help you put some information together and get a case ready. Brother Sanchez, that's a lot of our families are here because of the meatpacking plants. A lot of our families came from out of town for those jobs and got their start there, North and South Omaha. So I don't know a whole lot of families in North Omaha personally that still have people that worked at the meatpacking plant. Yeah. Brooke says that's why our family moved to Omaha in the first place, the meatpacking jobs. So yeah, these days I don't know a lot of people personally that still hold those jobs there. There's a lot of the meatpacking places don't exist anymore as well. But there's definitely still some around, and it's too bad that they still are. I heard that the conditions in there are like 1960s. Still like no regulation on a whole. But they put up some when COVID happened. They put up some like plexiglass screens in between people, and that's it.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, man, and very, very woefully behind. I can't think of the dystopian book. I want to say Animal Farm, but I'm not sure. Yeah. That's what I think of when I think of what it's like to work in some of these plants, man. Not just the meatpacking plants. You remember the Kellogg's strike that happened earlier this year.
Yeah,
and some of the things that's going on in there. So yeah, man, definitely shout out to our laborers out there. Shout out to the factory workers, and everybody deserves to be treated with respect, man. And this reminds me, we'll be talking about it later on in the HAPS and continuing as we get closer to the date. But the Poor People's March on Washington is coming up, and these are the types of things that will be addressed. These are the types of things that will be combated with this movement. So again, if this is a issue that fires you up, this is something that you want to get involved in. That's what we're here for, to present the issues, to have the conversation, and then kind of give some marching orders, some call to action. So again, if you would like to join that, you can check out poorpeoplesmovement.org. I believe, again, that's poorpeoplesmovement.org. Check that out for more information. That's what I was thinking of. The Jungle by Upton Sinclair.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So thanks, Josh Tag. Yeah. The Jungle is basically early depiction of meatpacking plants and just some of the disgusting things that goes on in them, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, that's I'll tell you about that. I go vegan for pretty much 3 or 4 months out of the year, and it's usually triggered by me seeing some ugly, some messed up stuff. Like,
man,
it's gruesome, man. When you really think about what goes on, it's really gruesome. You know, like there's really kind of no way to get away from it. I'm gonna continue to eat meat most likely, but I've cut way back, and it does have something to do with just everything you learn about how it's processed and, you know, the whole thing, man. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a dirty industry in general, you know. So,
man, how they treat the employees, the animals, it's just all the way around.
I mean, yeah, that's what I think of when I think of that. I think of like how bad they treat the animals. You know, how you gonna have that kind of attitude about the animals and not treat your workers like cattle?
It's a good point. So again, big shout out to Nebraska Supreme Court for getting this one right.
Yep.
Let your mind be free. Let your thoughts be heard, man.
Yeah, man. You want to move on? You want to take a quick break?
Let's keep moving. It is about 30 minutes in. Again, we do have some special guests expected to show up here pretty soon.
Yep.
So look out for that. But in the meantime, in between time, let's move on to the next topic and move from those working for close to free to those working for free, man. I'm talking about prison workers. Again, if you remember, man, if you're duly convicted of a crime, you're still a slave.
By law.
Literally.
By amended law, even.
That part. And we've been talking about this extensively. The need for prison reform, especially in Nebraska, is at an all-time high, especially with the emergency overcrowding and now rampant understaffing kind of plaguing Nebraska's prison system. The movement and the fight for reform continues. However, we know it's falling on deaf ears. The prison reform movement that has helped send U.S. inmate numbers plummeting was born in deep red, Texas, offering a new criminal justice vision that appealed to both Republicans and Democrats, liberals, and conservatives. In this new justice reinvestment model, prisons aren't simply warehouses where inmates are kept as long as possible before being released to offend again. Instead, there are places of rehabilitation and redemption that can help make communities safer while saving money too. However, here in Nebraska, home of the nation's fastest growing and most overcrowded prison system, a justice reinvestment proposal collapsed just last month in the legislature amid bitterness and distrust. This is a report coming out of the Omaha World Herald. Apparently, few states have seen the process fail so completely. But what happened in Nebraska? Apparently, the broad support of Republicans and conservatives that helped pass such criminal justice reforms in other states like Texas did not materialize here in Nebraska. And we've been talking about this. It seems like the Nebraska Republicans are also all too hell-bent on going the opposite direction and building more prisons and apparently filling them with more inmates. Governor Pete Ricketts, the conservative Republican, of course, who welcomed the initiative, ultimately blasted proposed reductions in criminal penalties as quote unquote soft on crime. Going back to that script that we always talk about, he must be reading from. Within the officially nonpartisan legislature, nearly every Democrat voted to advance the bill known as Legislative Bill 920, with only a third of Republicans voting in favor. The state's most prominent conservative think tank, which was strongly backed prison reform in the past, chose to be silent on the issue this year. On the issue, David Safian, who leads prison reform efforts with the American Conservative Union, says in a state like Nebraska, justice reinvestment has to start and end with conservatives. What many folks don't get is that it helps reduce recidivism and cut crime, but you have to get out in front of the counter narrative that this is a liberal issue. Again, politicizing this whole thing. For his part, Ricketts told the World Herald in a recent interview that he did find the entire justice reinvestment model flawed from the get-go and backwards. He says he decided it makes no sense for the state to consider any lightening of criminal penalties until it first invests in back-end treatment and enhanced supervision programs to make sure released inmates don't reoffend. And even then, he said he doesn't believe lessening of penalties is warranted.
Enhanced supervision.
Yeah, man. And allow me to go on a quick a quick diatribe.
Moment.
Yeah. Allow me to go on a quick diatribe of what this enhanced supervision in these programs mean. It means those who serve time and is allowed to leave, whether it's early or they had good time or what have you, continue to have this supervision where they're forced to basically be perfect, and they're not given the resources. A lot of times they're sent back to the situations and the people and the environments that they were in before they left. So they don't really, have any resources. They can't live anywhere. And a lot of times, if all they know are criminals, if their whole network are people with criminal backgrounds and illicit activity, they have nowhere to go because they can't go around those people because it'll land them back in jail. So this just becomes essentially another prison.
So you're talking about like having a parole officer? That's kind of supervision. Because I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just like, you get out of jail and you still got how are they going to supervise you?
This is like parole and things like that, which a lot of times aids to recidivism. It doesn't. It doesn't help people stay out. A lot of times, people end up going back to jail for the smallest of things because these enhanced supervision programs require them to not get in trouble for anything, like not a speeding ticket, not a broken tail light, nothing, which is very difficult to do, especially if you're in certain environments around certain people, used to living a certain lifestyle, have no resources to change your lifestyle. You're boxed in.
Yeah.
And looking at the chat, Brother Guillermo Valadera says those prisons should create skilled workers. That would definitely help. Not only no resources, but coming out with no skills.
Yeah, for sure. A little early in the chat, he said, yes, they won't even pay a good prison pension. How do you expect them to rent from anyone if they don't have no money? I'm thinking about the firefighters that are working for $1 a day in putting out the wildfires in California.
Oh man,
that after they get out of jail, don't qualify to work at the fire department, so they can't even get a job when they get out in the field that they are learning in jail that they're doing for slave labor in the first place. Tanaya Patterson said, keeping rural white people employed is paramount. There's not many industry options in this state. Okay. Brother Stephen Abraham says, when an organization is created, you must look at their name, mission statement, and philosophy. In regards to the Department of Corrections, they're saying individuals that break the law need rehabilitation. Until you can show that prison reform can also produce rehabilitation in a controlled setting, they will not entertain releasing potentially hazardous individuals back into society unchecked. So a failure of what the prison system is supposed to be doing is the exact reason why they won't let people out, thinking that is so they're not doing their job. So now they can't let people out because they're not doing their job.
That part.
Good morning, brothers. Abraham, he said, good morning, everyone. Linda Lathan also gives us a good morning to all with some sunshine. Appreciate you. Brother Valaderda says those prisons should create skilled workers, not super prisoners. I like that idea of super prisoners. That you just keep going back and back and back, and become skilled at the game of being in prison, which we all know our human nature is that we're gonna peep the game, we're gonna try to figure out how to win the game, and really our challenge in life is to reject the premise of the game and get out of that game in the first place. But if you're in it, you're gonna try to thrive in it. And
call
if
that
you
call that institutionalized.
Right, that's institutionalized. Exactly. Brother Sanchez says being released into the systemic oppression, something people cannot escape from, even if they choose. Yeah,
that part.
Rich Eric says, "Oh, that's their job. They're trying to." And let's not take the idea of the private prison out of the equation too. There's financial reasons to keep people in prison, and we know that, and that's that goes a long way for that type of thing. So it is what it is.
Big business and
huge business.
Yeah, and as a result, again of remember this isn't the only thing. Like it's so compounded why Nebraska prisons are the way they are. Not only will conservatives not pass any kind of reform legislation, try to change anything about it, but even the things that are in place, they're not fully following that. Again, shout out to Alamdari. I'm forgetting her first name. Natalia Alamdari, again, the journalist from Flatwater Free Press, who again was harassed when she tried to go into the prison to interview the parole board and about them not doing their job. So we got parole, half the parole board never shows up. There's certain laws that have been passed to decrease the population that aren't being applied correctly. So it's very compounded, and the end result is Nebraska's prison overcrowding isn't going anywhere. And we've been ringing this bell and calling it out for now the last 3 years. And it's clear it's not going anywhere. Actually, the system continues to get worse. Currently, 5,500 inmates, already 50% over design capacity. And then the current projections show that the state's prison system will grow another 1,300 inmates by 2030. At that rate, the state won't just be looking to build another prison, 1,500 bed prison to be exact, that Ricketts has been advocating for, but perhaps another, as that prison will then itself be overcrowded. So it's getting worse. It's getting worse, and they're going to fill that new prison, and they're going to build that new prison.
And as you can see, this is all really spearheaded by our governor, Pete Ricketts. That's all about it. When I first got in town, the big scandal was that he was trying to buy death drugs because so he's just gonna spend his own money on death penalty drugs. I mean, he's been about this tough on crime BS since Reagan came up with, since Nixon came up with it. It's just it's real dumb. And the cold part about it is that we might get somebody in as the next governor that might be just as bad or worse. And if we don't get no new blood in there, so is what it is on that. And over on Friends of Sky Omaha, we got a good morning love first Sky from Todd Pinson. Thanks for joining us. Also, Allie Peeler gives us a morning friends. What's happening, Allie?
Hey.
Yeah, man. Oh, everybody, these are some. Allie's a musician that I did hear was out at the Noma Fest yesterday. Let us know how that went. I heard that was a pretty good festival that happened yesterday. Back in the chat over here, Guillermo, Brother Valadera says, grant money for prisons, not schools, pisses me off. Yeah, I never really got into the idea about grant money for prisons. Like, I forgot that might be even a thing. Von Chapman says, litigation. He's reminding me of an article that he put into Friends of First Sky Omaha that talked about what one community did to try to circumvent some things that the school district was doing. It's a tactic. It's a tactic that we might be able to use for the prison situation, for schools. I feel like conservatives use it all the time, and I feel like everybody else kind of doesn't even think in terms of how about we sue to do what we need to do. And it's a tactic that needs to be used.
I mean, beyond lawsuit, man, I've been saying this, and I feel like there's actually some weight to this. I think Ricketts should be charged with something. I think Ricketts should be charged with human rights violations for not handling the state's prison system any better than he has.
We've been under a overcrowding emergency that was determined by the state. So why can they just call that and there be no circumstances to not fixing that problem? That's federal.
It was issued federally, not by the state,
Right.
but federally. And if I'm not mistaken, the overcrowding emergency, there's a timeline.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. This according to the National Library of Medicine. It says ED overcrowding is defined as a situation in which the demand for emergency services exceeds the ability. Oh, excuse me. No, this is dealing with.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and
Yeah, I'm gonna
find
have to
that.
look. I'm gonna have to look into it, because if I'm not mistaken, there is like a certain like amount of years which the overcrowding has to be addressed, and something has to be done to get the prison population under the threshold to where it's no longer considered overcrowded.
Very true. You're just joining us 7:45. You believe in the concept of time. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. One last comment. Dewan Lamont Hayes says HDR, the architecture firm whose headquarters is in Omaha, is leading architecture firm behind private prisons. They designed the new kind prison downtown, the new kid prison downtown. An article from last year says that they've been surveilling opposition. There's a let them check that out. Von Chapman is saying, "Where's the ACLU in this issue?" Very true, very true.
Good question.
There's great comments. Please go back into the chat and check out the comments. We do want to give honor to the time for our special guest that's come in from the reader. So we'll go ahead and bring him in. Buddy, you want to do the honors here?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Again,
good morning.
Welcome. For those who are new to the show, or our average listeners, you already know every Monday we have our carousel of local journalists coming through from the Reader, Flatwater Free Press, and Noise Omaha. And today we have a new face. Again, a lot of us are familiar with Leia, Princess Leia, as we like to call her around here. But today I'd like to introduce Brother Arjav, who will be replacing Leia. And I'm sorry, Arjav, how do we pronounce your last name? I want to get it right.
Rawal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, welcome to First Sky Omaha, Arjav. It's always a pleasure speaking with the family over at the Reader. So not only welcome to First Sky Omaha, but welcome to the Reader family. Again, I understand you're kind of new, so just want to first of all allow you to introduce yourself. Where are you from? Kind of what's your background, and what is your position at the Reader?
Sure. So grew up in the Bay Area, spent most of my life there. Came to the Midwest about 2 years ago. As part of the work that I was doing on political campaigns. First wound up in Kansas, or worked on the Senate race. And after that election ended, I just kind of knew I had to kind of pivot to doing something that wasn't sucking the soul out of me. So I wound up in journalism. And while I was in Kansas, I met a girl. And I followed her back here after the campaign ended. And we've been together it'll be 2 years next month.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
brand new. Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man. That's quite the story there. Everybody has a very pointed story about how they got here.
Yeah, that's what I've learned.
Yeah. What you got going on over at Noise? What's your position over there?
It's at the Reader. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're fine.
I'm getting y'all mixed up today.
No, you're good. But I see Kietryn's coming on, and I love her. So So basically, what I'm doing at the Reader is what Leia does, which is sort of put together the newsletter every morning. Which, if you haven't subscribed to, you definitely should. I handle the membership program, the ins and outs of that. Work on Omaha jobs related stories. Covering employment equity and low-income families and what they need, and sort of focusing on curating the event calendar that we have, things like that. It's kind of an all-encompassing gig, which is so much fun.
Okay, well, glad you're enjoying it.
You bet. No, I'm having a blast. I mean, it's only been 3 weeks. It's very intense, but it's a fun task, and it's lots of fun. The team is fantastic. I love the family over there. And I love getting to work with both of you and everything that we get to do together. I'm having a blast so far.
Awesome.
No, we definitely enjoyed our partnership with the Reader, and kind of feel like we're just getting started. So definitely glad to have you on. And I'm kind of curious. You are new to Omaha, so just before even getting into the journalism work and we'll talk about any stories that you've worked on. But what is your take on just Omaha? Like, how what have you explored? What have you found cool about the city? What do you think?
One of the things that I've learned, I mean, I've been coming here back and forth from Kansas to Omaha for almost 2 years at this point.
Okay.
And one thing that I've learned is the roads are incredibly confusing. I grew up in California, where, I mean, the idea of driving is, your driver's license test consists of essentially sitting in traffic for 5 or 6 hours, and just, if someone starts to move, then they start to move. Here, you actually do have to floor the gas if you want to get somewhere. You can't just wait for everyone else to clear out on the highway. So that part of it was a little bit unnerving. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun place to be. We've had a blast being here, both Ashley and I, just kind of getting a feel for the restaurants and the coffee, which I love. She's not a big coffee person, but I am. And there's a fun sort of small townish vibe to it, but it's just big enough to where if I want to kind of hide from everything, I can, which is fantastic, really. I mean, there's some good stuff. I mean, it's not perfect by all means. Lord knows it's not a fairy tale. Right. I don't want to mince my words, but there's some good things here that really make it worth fighting for, I think.
Okay. That's a pretty good conclusion. I definitely will have to agree with that. It has its issues, and we're here to discuss it. 3 times a week. But the good reasons are also why we come to discuss it and try to figure it out. So that brings me up to the next question. As far as you doing the work, again, you been with the Reader, like you said, 3 weeks. But they're pretty good at throwing everyone into the fire, and not letting you kind of ramp up, but just getting right through it. So what are some of the stories that you covered, if you have covered, or what's some of the things that you worked on?
Sure. So I just submitted my first story last week for the June issue. And it's sort of wrapping up some of the stuff that Leah has been talking about. She's done some really good stories on ADC money and, how often someone who applies for ADC gets rejected. I think the rate is 90% a month.
Wow.
And she's done some really good stories about, folks that are banned from getting SNAP benefits or ADC or something else. And what I'm kind of doing is, or what I have been doing so far is kind of researching what benefits are available that aren't governmental, that you don't have to apply for, that you risk getting denied for. Nonprofits around the area, sort of trying to profile the many organizations that exist to fill that void. So we've kind of zoomed in because, it's you can only have so many words in one article, but we zoomed in on 2 big ones: childcare and SNAP benefits. And we've talked a little bit about Kids Can Community Center, which is one of the nonprofit childcare providers around the area. And we talked about the food bank for the Heartland and the hotline that they have, where you can work with somebody to either apply for SNAP, and they'll do all the paperwork and follow up with you, or they will redirect you if you're not eligible to other resources, pantries around the area, rental assistance, things like that. Those are the 2 big ones that we kind of were able to talk to and get a feel for. But we've listed a bunch of other ones too. So there's tons of stuff there that we just want to be able to sort of put a spotlight on. And the idea is that whoever reads that story, if it's someone in need of those public benefits that isn't able to get them, this might be what they can use instead. That's what we're going for.
Man, I really appreciate that angle in that article, because we do talk a lot about some of the loopholes and just all the red tape that a lot of people have to go through to get some of these benefits, especially with the pandemic money that was out there, and the multitude of people who didn't get it, especially with rental assistance. And you look at some of those numbers. So definitely looking forward to that article and some of the information that comes out about it. Paul, did you have any questions or?
Yeah, no, I like the fact. I'm very caught up in the fact that they are doing this particular subject and how they're wrapping this up, and I like the idea of the solutions part of this too. We're big on solutions journalism around here, so be able to having some resources there, people can read the article and not just read it for cerebral reasons, but actually get some practical advice and practical places to go in it. I think is great.
So. Yeah, and it helps that I have a fantastic mentor for that. I mean, Leah has won awards for solutions-oriented journalism before.
Yeah,
for some of her very first stories that she did at the Reader. So I've been incredibly fortunate to have her, Chris. The entire team has just been so supportive and so helpful when it comes to getting me oriented and helping me find my bearings as a journalist as opposed to an organizer. And it's a different world.
So, I kind of wanted to get into that with you because we talk a lot about the concept of citizen journalism, and I'm a person. I have a degree in broadcast journalism and communication. I've been a journalist for quite some time, but Paul kind of blew my mind with this concept of citizen journalism and the fact that you don't necessarily have to go to school and have to go through all of that to be a journalist. And again, kind of hearing from your background, that's not the route that you took. So I'm kind of curious, as that transition, how has that been, and what's kind of the mentality that you have going into journalism without having a kind of traditional background?
Sure. So I'm not the first person to do this, right? In fact, I'd say the biggest example to me that I can think of is the fact that a citizen journalist is what exposed the killing of George Floyd, right? The modern day cell phone camera did more for criminal justice than the actual criminal justice system. So citizen journalism is something that it's been going on. It's been getting better and better for the last couple of years, and I think that's kind of what motivated me to throw my hat into it. I just kind of got sick and tired of watching politicians spin all the time and not really, act on things, and watching all these roadblocks get in the way, and seeing a journalistic industry that just wasn't really interested in trying to showcase those roadblocks. And that's kind of what motivated me to get into it, because I just felt like someone needed to talk about those things. And I think that's what made me want to work at the Reader. This is the dream job, to be able to work at a publication like this. I've been reading the Reader since I got here. I've been using their daily newsletter as a way to help me figure out what's going on in town. And what's happening. And I talk to all sorts of different transplants that aren't from here that have also relied on the Reader. Some that moved here 15, 20 years ago, some that moved here 2 years ago. That's kind of a mainstay. And so to be able to sort of be a citizen journalist coming into that, and sort of being able to have that perspective of having been a reader, that does also help, I think.
Man, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful perspective. Never haven't really heard, that, like someone who's been goes from being a reader on to working with the publication and with the team, and big shout out to John Heaston and the pivot that he took, instinctively at the beginning of the pandemic, switching to the format that you see the Reader now, and bringing on the likes of Chris Bowling and Bridget and Lynn Sanchez and the team that's over there. So
I love them.
Again,
I love them
yeah,
all.
man, I'm excited to see what work you do. I'm liking what I'm hearing from you. Obviously you got a good head on your shoulders, and one thing that we always appreciate about the Reader is them telling the stories, telling the human stories, telling the stories that aren't told, and things like that. So again, very eager to see the work that you do. And I know you mentioned that you work with memberships. So this is the perfect time. You kind of talked it up, man. So how can people, become a member? How can people tap in with the Reader?
Yeah, if you're able, thereader.com/membership-plans. Basically, $5 a month, you can get a print copy of our monthly issue to your door, or $10 a month, you can sign up to join our not so secret Facebook group for members, and you can even go to a monthly leadership chat with I guess at this point Chris, because of course John has been dealing with his medical issues for a little while, but But yeah, I mean, we have some really cool benefits available as part of the membership program, and if you're able and if you're willing, please, by all means, you'll get to talk to me more. And isn't that what everyone wants?
I mean, when you put it like that, this should be a done deal.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you very much for that. Just jumping in the chat real quick. Miss Erica Fell says The Reader is the very first publication I read in Omaha. Same with me. I went from a reader to a contributor there as well. So same story. Dewan Lamont Hayes is talking about the cliff effect in there. According to what we were just talking about in the articles, the cliff effect occurs for low-income families when small increases in income result in a reduction or a loss of essential public benefits. As a result, families do not have the resources required to meet even basic needs, and employers are stymied in their attempts to hire and promote employees. And there's a article there that he put in the chat as well. If you want to read more about that, check that out. We deal with that all the time and deal with that in our own families, man. So this is very, very crazy. Star Trek Rich put in the chat the reader.com/members and all the plans there. So definitely check that out. And become if you subscribe to the Reader already, great, but go ahead and become a member as well, because once again, this is news that we feel valuable enough to fund, so that we can because we really respect the way that the reporters that are doing the reporting are doing such great work, being fair and being honest and truthful, and also solutions based. So yeah, we really appreciate it, and have everybody. I hope everybody does too. Really appreciate that, and we'll have you back again soon, man. This is the first of your inaugural visit here at Sky Omaha.
Yeah, you bet. I mean, I'm glad to be here. Happy to come back whenever. So yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I know you're a little nervous, man. I told you wouldn't grill you too bad, man. You did great. You did great.
He does not look. He does not like 1 inch nervous in there. He looks like cool as a cucumber, man. The mic, all smooth and cool with it. So did great, man. He did great.
Yeah, you did
Thank you.
Job,
Thank
man.
you very much.
With that, man, I know you're busy. Doing your reader duty, so we'll let you get back to it. I appreciate you taking the time out this morning to speak with us. Until next time,
sir. Thank you very much. Take care.
Right. Peace. Have a good one. All right, man. That's what's up. He's gonna be a great cat to come back for sure.
The team grows. The team grows. Again, a reminder: he will be replacing Leah, who we have had the pleasure to speak with numerous times here on the show. She will be here next week though, so that won't be the last. You will be seeing her. She actually has some pretty interesting and I think heavy stories that she's working on. So definitely looking forward to see what what she has. So look out for that next week. But again, we do have several other guests coming in today, several other topics to talk about. But in the meantime, in between time, Paul, you want to take a quick break?
Yeah, let's do that. Before we go, Ms. Erica Phil says I run into that with my childcare clients regularly, talking about what Dewan was talking about here with the cliff effect, saying it has caused me to have to subsidize because the government won't. So yeah, man, it's a real thing, and I'm glad to see that they're shining some light on it and trying to figure some things out. So we'll definitely be keeping up with that. And with that, we'll take a quick break. Come back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. We got another special guest coming up here real soon, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Don't you touch nothing. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. It's going down. All of you, the chat chimers, we really appreciate everybody that's joined into the chat right now on both Friends of First Sky Omaha and the First Sky Omaha page, and of course the YouTube channel as well. Thank you. Brooke says Zane likes that song. Is it a new one? No. It's old. I made that before you was born, buddy. Long time ago. So anyway, thank you everybody for coming back through and hanging with us here on this Monday. What is it? Monday the 23rd.
Man.
23rd. Yeah, man.
Already.
Lots going on. We'll definitely have an extensive haps all week this week because there's a lot of stuff that's happening, and there's a lot of stuff that just happened as well. So
yeah.
This Noma Fest just went down all day Saturday. Big 12-hour festival. Every band you can think of in town got down. Allie Peeler says it was so much fun. I only planned on popping by, but couldn't be called away. Jocelyn, Thailand, Just Be, Anjali, Big Way, Dana. The perfect weekend for some outdoor shows. The Highlander kicked off their outdoor concert series this past weekend too. Lots of opportunities to be outside and connect with the community. Excuse me. This summer should be full of that. The Miller Park concert series was announced too.
Oh, they're bringing that back. Nice.
Yeah. So there's gonna be a lot of that. A lot of outside good times to be had for sure. And it's gonna be great, man. Beth Davis Wilson in the house. What's happening?
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, she's having a discussion with Miss Erica Phelps. Sounds good. I'm glad y'all talking. She says that now in October, the income guidelines for child care subsidy were expanded. So if you were declined in the past, you may qualify now. Give it a shot.
Okay.
So that's good to know. We're always trying to stay ahead of what's going on with child care because it's very, very expensive situation all the time, and people need that kind of help. Linda Latham in the house. What's happening? Thank you for joining us. She's talking about it's a vicious cycle. We have families here who end up with an extremely high family fee due monthly after just a tiny increase in their income, less than 100 or more each pay period. That's crazy. Then they'll end up not being able to make their payment, and they just quit their job to keep their benefits. There needs to be more assistance with tuition. Here we have a program called Lincoln Littles, who help families make ends meet during that hard transition from being entirely paid for the state to family fees to covering tuition completely on their own. I wonder if you have something like that in Douglas County.
Man.
Yeah, very interesting, man. Wow.
We say it all the time, man. We got to get like a city council member or somebody from Lincoln to come through and holler at us, man. It seems like Lincoln is all, maybe just a step or two ahead of Omaha, man.
It seems like we've been reporting probably for the past 6 or 7 months now about programs and things going on in Lincoln that's huge. That feels way more progressive than stuff that's going on in Omaha right now.
Yeah, I mean, the latest thing that comes to mind is this the housing, the affordable housing grade sheet that they put out to actually hold developers accountable and hold them to not allowing them to just say we're going to create affordable housing, but actually holding them to that housing being affordable. I think we've seen reports about things like that being discussed to be implemented in Omaha, but nothing concrete.
Well, one of the ways that we try to keep them responsible and keep our eye on things in order for people to be held accountable is, of course, with the fourth estate, which is journalism. And we think that journalism is a pretty important thing, even if you're not a journalist, even if you're just a citizen journalist. You got to do what you got to do and keep your eye on things. This is the only way that you keep power in check. And this is a good time to bring our special guest on. We have a special guest on from one of the organizations that are doing the work at keeping the power in check and is trying to expand that work. And we'll go ahead and bring her in now. We got the legendary Kietryn Zychal with some respect on her name in the house. How you doing?
Good. How are you? I was up early and I started to read Flatwater's article that they just did about the Ohio real estate company. And then I lost track of time, Paul, and I looked down and I was like, oh my God.
No, you're right on time. It's all good.
Just like, okay. Because I'm usually early and I'm usually waiting out there. And you have traffic outside. You have the street closed. What's up? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on right there. I have no idea. I'd like to find out what's going on the street. Because that's a controversial street. I don't know if people know this very well, but I've heard that they were trying to divert those trucks back up to Dodge, and not come down this little side street here in front of it. Right, but there's like some politics going on, like Gene, like Mean Gene is like, well, you got to do something for me, or I'm not, or you can just keep on getting those trucks down.
That's interesting. I might need a story about that, because that makes me think of the streetcar system, which they're trying to implement on Dodge as well. So
not on Dodge. That stupid streetcar is supposed to go up Harney and Farnham.
What?
Harney and Farnham. Yeah.
Dodge makes a lot more sense.
Right.
But
Dodge makes the only sense. It's the only street wide enough to have a streetcar. I mean, if they put a streetcar in Harney and Farnham, it's just a nightmare. You won't have any parking. And it's not like the streetcar is more like a Disney ride. It's not like it's not real transportation.
Right. Well, I mean, we already got the horse and carriages around. We can just take that up the street if we got to around here. The Disney carriage. Anyway, moving along. Thank you for joining us. And for those of you who don't know, this is Kietryn Zychal. She's working at Noise right now, but she's been a journalist for a long, long time. We've had her on the show many times before. If you're just joining us, and if you have questions for her about any of the things that we're going to be talking about today, please put them in the chat. But it is good to see you again. Always good. And I know Noise has some very exciting things happening that you're here to tell us about too. So let us know.
Okay. So the first thing I would like to do is encourage people to come to the grand opening of our Omaha Journalism Project at 1911 Harney Street, which will be on Thursday, June 2nd. So the space is really beautiful. And when it's all filled with technology, we'll have computers in there for people to use, and a podcast studio. And there's a classroom there because we're going to be teaching a course with Flatwater Free Press and some local journalism professors, so that people understand principles of journalism better. And this way we can increase the pool of journalists of color here in Nebraska and in Omaha.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what we need. So again, if any of you know anyone, I mean, young people, old people, it doesn't matter. If you know anyone who wants their voices heard and feels like they can write, if you're literate and you have ideas, definitely tap in with Noise and again some of the organizations that she just named. If I'm not mistaken, what is the organization that this program you partnered with, Noise partnered with to create this organization?
It's Flatwater Free Press. Does Flatwater come on here?
Yeah, they do. But I'm thinking it was a different organization that was announced.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
We're in the AIM building.
Okay. Yes, AIM.
And AIM is a technology provider, and so they have given us the space in their building.
Nice.
Okay. It's a storefront. It's street level, and it's right on Harney Street, across from the parking garage that you park in if you're going to go to the city county building, and
right in the heart.
In the heart, right downtown.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wonder, is there a application open or for those who want to join the program? You said next Thursday.
There will be.
Okay.
So come to the grand opening. It's June 2nd, Thursday. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. And as things progress, it's one step at a time. The first step was getting the space, renovating the space, and now we're moving, towards getting the technology in there. And so we'll let you know when we get to the point when we want to call for applications.
Nice. Okay. When you get the podcast studio set up in there, maybe we can come over as First Sky guest.
Yes.
And guest out of their studio, out of your studio.
Yes.
I tease Kietryn all the time because she will ask anybody, can they write? We'll be at McDonald's or something, and she'll be like, how long you been working in fries? Do you write? Can you write? So I love it because she's that's after my own heart with the citizen journalism thing. If you have something that you want to if you have some skills to write, if you just have writing skills, just basic writing skills, really, and you can kind of tell a story, and there's some stories you want to tell, and they will, like, you guys will help people shape their articles. You helping me shape one right now. In like that's to me, that's the beauty of this, is that you don't have to think that you got to be some kind of Pulitzer Prize winning journalist here. All you got to do is be able to write a story, and Noise, they'll have a team of editors there. They'll help you shape that story, put that story together, and get your voice heard, get it out there. So I love that. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about this. So this program that you, or actually the physical building that you're talking about, with the grand opening there on, what you said, June 2nd. What's it going to look like in there? How you guys got a noise? Is it just going to be like noise reporters coming in and out of there? Or is it for the public? What kind of space is this going to be?
At 1911 Harney?
Yeah.
So there'll be somebody in the space, when it's open. And then the other thing is that there will be classes at certain times.
Okay.
But, we'll have computers in there that people can use. And we're still kind of working out the schedule. And so I can't give you any of the specifics yet, because we're not there yet, but we're moving there.
So to that point, is there anything that you need, or what's left?
We still have a wish list.
Okay.
So if you go on our website, you can find on the Noise website or on our Facebook page, you can find our wish list. We're still looking for technology to build it out.
Okay. So if anyone in the chat has any resources to get any technology, again, this is a worthy cause. We just talked about it with Arjav from the Reader, as far as just the power of citizen journalists and the power of empowering, the community to tell their own stories and have their own voices be heard. I mean, that's the whole point of Noise. Again, North Omaha information supports everyone. So again, everyone, let's try to join and get active.
Ali Peeler in the chat says Kietryn Zychal is the best when it comes to empowering people to do their own investigative journalism.
Oh, well, that's
props from Ali Peeler. That's what's up. All right. I love that. Any stories, anything going on right now that you guys are deep diving and working on?
Well, what I'd encourage people to do is go and look at something I covered on Thursday. Thursday was Malcolm X's birthday. So I went up to the Malcolm X Center for the luncheon, and by Zoom, they had two people, one gentleman, Mr. I think his name is Newton. I've forgotten already. No, not Newton. I'm sorry.
Gus Newport.
I just flat out, Gus Newport. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So he spoke by Zoom. He knew Malcolm X, and then Bobby Seale spoke by Zoom. I don't think he ever met Malcolm X, because the Panther Party was founded in 1966 and Malcolm X died in 1965. But Bobby Seale was hugely influenced by Malcolm X. But then Karen Wells spoke, and Karen Wells is the mother of Amir Locke, who was killed in Minneapolis in a no-knock raid. And she, 9 seconds after opening that door with a key, they shot him. And so she spoke, and she would like to start an organization or a movement to ban no-knock warrants across the country. Just do away with them, because, it was just ridiculous what happened to her son. And so I would encourage people to go on Noise and then look for the Malcolm X article. And then I asked her for a copy of her speech, and I just copy pasted it, and I put her speech, the whole speech that she made, right in there. Because, it's so important what she's trying to do and what she had to say. And she's originally from Omaha.
Oh, yeah, right.
And she was living in Texas. And I guess she had raised her children in Minneapolis, but she moved to Texas. And now she's back in Omaha, from what she said at the luncheon. So,
oh, wow.
Perhaps you should reach out to her and have her on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have some family members that are family to that family. So, that's we've been talking about it, and that's been a very, there you go. Linda Latham says ban no-knock warrants. That subject has been very heavy. We were thinking about this all the way back to Fred Hampton. Basically they're just running up in people's house, and it's interesting the story they tell about why they do this. They say it's a protection. If something's happening to you inside your house, they need to be able to just come in and save you. But it always pans out that somebody's just getting shot and killed whenever they are busting in your house that way. So
And how often is it the wrong person? How often is it not the person that they were even looking for to begin with?
Right. Yeah, there's plenty of stories of going to the wrong house.
Yeah. Right. Not even the wrong person, but just the completely wrong house. Like it is man, it's mind-boggling. So definitely would love to hear more about those efforts and how we can, call to action and spread awareness on that. But I do have the article pulled up, and I did actually want to kind of read an excerpt from her speech that I thought was very poignant. She says, we are no longer going to vote for the lesser of the two evils and those that look like us but don't care or represent us. In order to grow a flower, you must plant the seed and dig your fingers into the soil. To those of you that think you know what's best for those that vote you in, make sure you visit and are active in the communities, and only then you can wash the soil off your hands. She says, I am Malcolm, wrong son, right mother. Yeah, and that's just one paragraph. I urge people to definitely go back and check out this article and read her speech in its entirety, and also some of the other highlights of that day.
Yeah.
And she said that her son had started an LLC. I think it was called Save the Youth. Like, he was a really good kid, and he wanted to work with young people and, help them make better decisions and, be in charge of their lives and not let things happen and, go down wrong paths. And I feel for her. I really, and she must have another child, because there was a little girl there with her. It looked like she was about 5 years old. And how traumatic if that's her older brother. Like, oh my God, that poor kid, to have to deal with that kind of trauma at that age,
And that's the type of trauma that gets passed through the community, passed down, by generations, and it becomes just inherent. That trauma becomes inherent.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because we have a mental health series that Peyton Hogan writes for us. He's a licensed mental health therapist, and his column this week is about collective trauma, and he wrote that in response to the Buffalo shooting. Because this fear that, wherever I am as a Black person, in numbers, suddenly you're becoming targets.
Can't go to the grocery store, can't go to church.
Exactly.
The movies. I mean,
exactly.
It's interesting. I was thinking back in the Rodney King days. I was in California when the Rodney King thing went down. And I remember one of my uncles saying, well, yeah, if you kind of stay out of trouble and just kind of stay out of the street, though, then you don't really have to worry about it. It's not like they're walking in your house and killing you. And here we are. You can't even be asleep in your own home, in your own bed.
Or playing video games with your nephew.
Or be in your own backyard or anything.
Botham Jean, sitting on your couch eating ice cream.
Right.
Yeah. So, man, this is definitely heavy, and I am glad. Big shout out to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation for putting this celebration together and giving Sister Kietryn a platform to speak and have her thoughts be known.
Brother Muhammad's been very active with the family there. He says that was the grandbaby that you.
Oh, it's a grandchild. Okay.
But she did say that she has another son. She says both my sons and myself always said we are Malcolm, and his quote, by any means necessary, let us know that we were warriors. So she's definitely as she says, the right mother.
I can't wait
very,
to
very powerful.
dig into that article. That's something else.
Yeah, man, definitely go check it out. noiseomaha.com. That article is available. I also like to hear from anyone else that attended any of the other Malcolm X Memorial Foundation events over the weekend. Just drop that in the chat. Let us know how you feel.
I went up to on Saturday. I stopped by Noma Fest real quick, and I just shot a couple of pictures and put them on our social media. And at Malcolm X, I live streamed the kids. They had some drill teams and dancing. So if you go on our Facebook page, you can find there's short little videos of the kids dancing and doing the drumming.
Nice.
Okay, there you go. Check it out. What'd you think of the Noma Fest?
When I went, it was early and it was very sparsely attended. And so I think as the evening wore on, I think more people started to show up. But when I went, there weren't a lot of people, but it was their first one. And I think it was great to shut the street down and, have bands out there. So
they used to do it back in the old days. I'm glad they're doing it again. So that's what that corner needs for sure. And I hope I hope this sparks more art, more just people in bands and people, musicians and
now
artists.
What happened up at the Highlander? You said there was a musical festival at the Highlander as well?
Yeah, I did hear that they have their it's like a summer music fest that they do every year. So they fired that up. I didn't get the details on that.
I didn't even know about it. Like usually stuff like that pops into my social media. I didn't even hear about it.
Yeah, I didn't. There didn't seem like there was much fanfare about it. Not much marketing on it in just in general. So same with me. It didn't really pop up with me until later on. But I think that's kind of a little bit of an issue all the way around. Actually, part of what we want to try to do in our fourth season of Sky Omaha is report a little bit more on the arts. Try to expand that and market that out a little bit more because we're involved in places kind of like the Benson Theater and other places now. So it's like, let's really kind of put something out there again and enhance the people that are doing that. The Reader still does culture stuff there. So trying to help the Reader enhance the culture and put out more of what's going on, especially in North Omaha where they might not get a whole lot of reports about what's happening. We want to try to help some of that out and do some of that too, and just kind of get the word out. It's like a pandemic. It's like a epidemic in Omaha, Nebraska, that you don't get the news about cool stuff that's happening or people that are coming in town or whatever. So we're trying to solve some of that as well. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully that part.
Hopefully. Yeah. Who's this? That's Ali Peeler saying that Anjali and Timeless will be performing on June 10th at the Highlander. Dina's Place outdoor area. So Dina's Place, I've been hearing this thing about Dina's Place.
Dina's Place. I've never heard of that. What is that?
Yeah, that's a new spot over at the Highlander, and I'm not really sure what it is either. I've just been hearing the name Dina's Place.
I think if you recall, there's like a bar area. I think that might be what they place in the bar area.
Oh, okay.
Next to Best Burger.
Oh, so indoors.
Yeah. I think it's another place in that kind of food court area, if I'm not mistaken. Again, if anyone else knows,
I heard it was an outdoor music thing though that was going on. So we'll have to try to find out.
If anyone has any information, let us know.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I'm kind of curious. Aside from the Malcolm X, is there any other stories or any other things that you're working on personally outside of noise that you'd like to share?
Well, outside of noise, I have a freelance project I'm working on right now, but I'll tell you about it when it comes to fruition. But other things to watch out for this week is Paul Allen is going to submit to me his piece on Michelle Troxclair.
Yes, I am. So I'm already late with it.
If I get that this week, potentially we'll have that up. But we do have a piece coming up by Leo Adam Biga, and it's about Beaufield Berry. And she has a play called In the Upper Room, which is kind of a family drama. And that will be playing at the Great Plains Theater Commons Conference, which is a play. Oh, great. Look at that. It's a play conference that's happening. I believe the dates are May 29th through June 3rd. So if you just Google Great Plains Theater Commons, you can find out. You have to register and then you can attend some of the workshops. But the play will be at, I think it's June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So I think it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. And it's over at Creighton in the Lead Center. And the tickets are free. So I imagine that they will get snapped up. So go online to the Great Plains Theater Common website. It's pretty, you kind of have to search around. There's a lot of information on the website, so don't give up. And eventually you can find where you can buy the tickets through Eventbrite.
Beaufield's making big moves with the stuff that she's doing, and this is going to be directed by Denise Chapman, who's a legend in town as well. So, thanks for shouting that out, and definitely check that out. I'm kind of in that world now, being over the Benson Theater. Like I'm really seeing what the theater world is doing out here, and it's got some legs. That's for, for sure.
Yeah, I bought my verbal gumbo ticket. I'm really looking forward to that in June.
Yes. I really appreciate you doing that. That's gonna be a legendary night too. So it's gonna be good to get. I'm like Ali Peely was saying earlier. Like there's a lot of music that's coming, stuff inside, outdoors, lots happening. We have to have extensive haps on every show now because there's a lot going on. And everybody's ready for it, man. Everybody was sick of being in the house. They're ready to come out and do some things. So,
Oh, and the other thing I would encourage people to do is not culture. It's Omaha has a constitution, basically. It's called the city charter. And every 10 years, they have the opportunity to amend it. And right now, the city charter convention is convening. There are 15 people on the charter convention. 8 of them were appointed by the mayor and 7 by the council. And if you go on the mayor's website, you can find the city charter convention. And so the first meeting was last week. I think it was Monday, May 16th. So I had a chiropractor appointment because I've got this thing in my neck that makes my left arm tingle and go numb when I sit. So I went to the chiropractor. And so I got to the charter convention thing like a half an hour late. And I go to the city county building and it's all locked up. And I can see there's like a gate inside. You can't go through the revolving doors. Oh, well, maybe you have to enter through the courthouse. And so I go down to the courthouse and that's all locked up. So I see a news guy out there and I'm like, are you here for the charter convention? And he didn't even know that what the Omaha City Charter was. So I start walking back up to the city county building and there's more news people. There's 2 young people. And I asked them and they said, no, we're covering, something else. And the kid said to me, there was a young woman and a young man. And the young man said to me, well, just ring the intercom. And I'm like, the intercom. So I go back up to the building and there's the revolving door. And to the right of it is the door that, not the revolving door. And then there's this little tiny button. So I press it and I said, I'm here for the charter convention. And they buzzed me in.
Wow.
And so I believe the next meeting is on the 26th. And so we put all the charter convention things on our calendar. If you go on Noise's website and you scroll down, you'll get to the calendar. So I put every single one of the meetings on the calendar to make sure that people know about them.
Yeah, that's a great thing to know about.
Yeah. And so the public can attend, and you can also make suggestions to the charter convention members. And we did a series a while back about how Omaha has a strong mayor and a weak council. And that started, and that's definitely an article you should find. Because in the 50s, A.V. Sorensen changed the structure of Omaha's city operations so that the mayor is more like a CEO, and then the city council are more like, board of directors.
Wow.
And this is why the mayor can, in secret, have conversations with Mutual of Omaha and then just announce one day that they're tearing the library down and building a skyscraper there. And the city council didn't even know.
Wow.
They don't have to approve it, that she can just say, this is going to happen. And it happens. And
we'll have to talk more about this on your next visit. This is very interesting stuff we need to check out. I appreciate you giving us that information. And we'll definitely dig in that article and check that out. I'm anxious now to go see how we can flip the script on that, because
and in theory you would think that the city charter convention could say, hey, let's have a strong council, and have the mayor not necessarily be stronger than the council, and but that is not necessarily going to happen because 8 of the people on the charter convention are appointed by the mayor and 7 are appointed by city council members.
Wow.
Yep.
There you go.
The imbalance is in.
And it only happens every 10 years. So, and in theory, it should have happened next year, 2023, but they got in a big rush to have the charter convention now instead of, because all the other ones happened on the 3. It was 1993, 2003, 2013, but, they had to get the charter convention done now.
Interesting.
And so, but May 26th is the next meeting. And I told them, I stood up after the meeting and I went to the podium and I told them that I couldn't get in the building. I had no idea where to go or how to get in the building. It was locked.
Yeah.
I said, so you need to put some signs up,
par for the course,
so that people know, to bring the intercom to get in.
Right.
Of course, they're trying to make their decisions in secret.
Yeah, in a locked building. Yeah, come on down. The meetings are open to the public, but the building's locked.
There you go. We're gonna have to let you go. We do got another guest coming in, but thank you so much for coming through and giving us this information. It's always a pleasure. And hopefully next week or you maybe Miles Davis.
Okay, Vaughn wants my contact information. It's Kietryn, Kietryn at noiseomaha.com. Just shoot me an email.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, there we go. Always a pleasure. Let's take a quick break and get set up for our next guest. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, all of you. Stay tuned. We still have Matt Wynn from Flatwater Free Press coming in up next. And then, of course, we'll have an extensive haps a little later on as well. So get your haps together, get your haps ready. The chat is going off. I really appreciate everybody who's chiming in the chat. Dewan, thank you very much. You got some thanks for that info. Kietryn Zychal, appreciate that. And Brother Muhammad says, put the spotlight on this.
Man,
I love it.
Yeah, that was heavy. That was heavy right there.
Very heavy. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Matt Wynn, First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, all of you. Stay tuned. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B.
I wonder if it's going to pause for me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us again. We're here at Weberized Studios, and that's the point of contact for all of our individuals that come in from all these news organizations. So that's really cool. Really appreciate Weberized for allowing them to, opening the doors and facilitating that. They're the ones that bring us the Starfleet Daily Meditation, what Buddy likes to call the Trekkie Words of Wisdom. Yeah, today's is, it is possible to commit no errors and still lose. That is not weakness. That is life. Ain't that the truth, man? It is possible to commit no errors and still take the L. Come on, Jean-Luc Picard. Tell the truth. That is not weakness. That is life. That's packed full of some Trekkie words of wisdom there for sure.
Man, wise indeed.
Very wise. Jean-Luc Picard, of course, the legendary captain from the Next Generation. And there you go. Brought to you by Weberized Studios. Go to Weberized.com. If you have podcast ideas, they're the experts on that. And we appreciate them doing that. And without further ado, let's bring in our special guest. We're running a little late today, and just want to be respectful of his time. But we got my man Matt Wynn in the house.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, brother?
I'm hanging in there.
Good to see you today. You look like Monday morning is treating you well. You're full of energy.
I gotta tell you, I am, as you know, I haven't had my coffee yet. I'm usually a little asleep, but I am feeling the journalistic fire this morning. So I'm good to
go. Any particular reason? Why is that?
Yeah. We had a story today. We've been working on it for months now. I'm sure you guys have both heard me ramble about it, about this company that has bought hundreds of houses in Omaha over the past couple of years. They used to not be here at all. Starting in 2019, around Halloween, they started buying houses. Most of them are in North Omaha, right?
Of course.
This company is based in Ohio. They were coming in with cash offers. They were basically making an offer no one could refuse, right? Hey, we'll give you cash. Sometimes we'll pay above listing price. We're not going to do really an inspection. We'll walk through and make sure the ceiling's not falling down, but that's it. And now they own hundreds of homes. They're operating these as rentals. A lot of the rents they're charging, to me, it's been a couple of years since I rented, so it felt high. But people are making it work. But the fact of the matter is these guys are here. They're here in big numbers. They have not stopped buying. They're going to keep doing it. And we had I'm just super proud of the piece that we published last night with KTV on this. I don't know if you guys have gotten to check it out yet, but it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now. Vinebrook Homes is the company that he's referencing. Again, an Ohio-based private company with $2.4 billion in assets. $2.4 billion with the B in assets that they didn't own just 30 months ago. So yes, very, very aggressive, and does not look like it's going to be slowing down anytime soon, as you mentioned. But what impact have you seen this has on the housing market, especially in communities like North and South Omaha?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's a little hard to decouple what's happening from what these guys are causing, right? So I can't say cause or effect or anything like that. What I can say is North Omaha has some of the number of homes sold in North Omaha is up 80% year to year, right? It is hot. It is the hottest real estate market in town. What that means is that assessments are going to go up. If you own a home in North Omaha, I'm trying to figure out how to say this without getting super dorky on you guys, but your taxes are going to go up, right? They're going to say your house that you bought for whatever, $120,000 is now worth $220,000. And as a result, your taxes are going to nearly double, right? That's the real impact that we're going to see. Now, you could say there's some plus to that as well. Your house is worth more now. You can take loans against it and all that sort of thing. But regardless, the housing market in North Omaha and in Benson are the hottest in town. And I believe this company and their aggressive buying is part of the reason.
Yeah, I suggest everybody read this article. It's so okay. So well, first of all, in the chat, Beth Davis Wilson says, so who owns the business?
Yeah. It's a private company, right? So we've got a guy quoted in there who is I believe he's a co-founder of the company. He's a vice president or something like that. So he owns the business, as do a couple other private investors. My understanding is they're taking, it's a private company. You can buy stock. It's not on the stock exchange, but if they approach you, you can buy parts of the company. There's one major owner. Their name slips my mind. I don't want to screw it up, but there's another company that owns like 12% of their shares. But it's just a big privately held company, a big, massively growing privately held company. And the thing is that it's not just in Omaha, right? They're here in Omaha. They're based in Dayton, but they've got homes now that they've bought all across the country, 23 markets that are a lot like Omaha. Milwaukee is one where they were super active. They have some in Dayton. They're in Kansas City. They're in St. Louis. They're in Little Rock. They're all over the place, doing a lot like what they did here. It's, we've got North Omaha. Milwaukee has whatever Milwaukee has. There's all these places, historically redlined parts of town, right? Where all of a sudden these guys are aggressively buying and moving the needle on real estate in a way that wasn't there before. So
I get the impression that this story was kind of a breaking story. This was kind of like we exposed something here. And did that come from the resistance to know who owned the properties before? What's the news here that you feel has been exposed through this article?
These guys they owned nothing in Omaha 3 years ago. Now they are one of the largest landlords in town. Period. Right. That's the news. That's what's happening. We caught this because, as you know, Paul, I am a data dork. I was looking at the sales data as I do, and the number one buyer was this company that I had never heard of, based out of Dayton, Ohio. They had more than doubled what the second biggest buyer was doing, and they're not slowing down. Right? They've got sales up until last month. I'm sure there'll be some in May that we just haven't seen come through yet. That's the news, right? They are here. They're here in a big way, and they're moving the market, I believe.
Brother, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to get into that as far as the moving the market. We got Brother Manny Charles, Manny About Town, as we like to call him, here in the chat. I see you quoted him in the article, and to the question of how he see their impact on the community. He says they're displacing communities, they're displacing people, and what is the opportunity for people to buy those homes now? Will there be as many opportunities going forward? And I also see later in the article, you kind of mentioned not just how aggressively they've been purchasing homes, but some of the tactics that they've been using and some of the things that they've been doing in this process, like as far as in Milwaukee, evicting more tenants than even the local landlords. So can you kind of speak to some of that you've seen throughout this process?
I mean, I'll be honest, we did not see that. There's a reason we don't talk too much about eviction in Douglas County in the article. We didn't see that. We looked at it. They are doing evictions. They're active in that. That's a thing that they do, but not in huge numbers. They're not number one. And I don't know if that's just because by virtue of where they are in their process here, right? They've got hundreds of houses here, but not all of them are full. They're not rented yet. We went door to door. We actually worked with KETV, who is, God, they're just a phenomenal news operation. We knocked on a number of these doors. The ones that I did, half of them were empty, right? So it might be that their eviction numbers are not high yet because their houses aren't filled yet. They're still in the process of putting new paint, new carpet, getting these things fixed up and renting them out. We also have landlords quoted in this story, former landlords, a guy who sold his place to this company, telling us, look, they're charging too much for rent. The reason they can't rent them out is they're charging too much. Right. So I wonder if those two things together, if that's not why they're not higher on the eviction list, because that is a story that we hear from these other markets where they're active, that they're doing it at a higher rate than other companies, than other people. That's part of the playbook. We do have tenants who told us repeatedly, basically, that their eviction operation is fairly automated, right? If you don't pay by X date, it doesn't matter if you called, it doesn't matter if you talked to anybody, it doesn't matter what you did. On X date, this many hours afterwards, you're going to get a letter that's going to tell you they're starting the eviction process. And there's actually a couple, an Omaha couple quoted in the story who went through this process and had to pay hundreds of dollars to kind of peel that back from the brink, so to speak.
Sounds like they got a mechanism there to get people out so that they can next people that come in, the rent will be higher. They kind of control that rental market that way. And if they're still going to get their money, because if the people who are late on the rent there want to stay, then they're paying these extra fees that probably equal up to the rent that that they would charge the next person anyway. So they're making their loot. In the chat, real quick, Beth Davis Wilson asked a question that I just lost. Where was that?
That's good when they're coming in so fast, right?
Yeah, the chat's definitely coming in.
Chat's definitely. She says, "Do they have any other agenda other than making money? Do you? What sense do you have there?"
You can read their comments in the story. They say that they're trying to serve a need, that we haven't, as a society, built enough houses to handle these massive generations that we have. So that's their claim. But look, they're a corporation, right? Their responsibility is to their private shareholders, and they're going to make their money. We went through their 10Ks. There's a link to one of those in the story. I mean, the numbers that we're dealing with and the pace at which we're moving, it's phenomenal. One of the things that they list as a risk of their business is if rents can't keep going up, then they might be in trouble, right?
If rents can't keep going up, they might be in trouble. Wow.
Man, so that doesn't bode well for renters moving forward in the future.
So their business model is based on the fact that the rents have to keep going up.
Rents have to keep going up, and people have to not be able to buy their own houses. If people buy their own houses or they can't keep moving rents up, then they might be in trouble. That's something that they write.
So their business model is keeping people in the slavery of
Yeah. Dewan Lamont Hayes is asking, what do we do about it? How does the community reverse and or prevent this?
Yeah, Dewan, I will be honest with you, as you know full well, we like to try solutions journalism a lot in our stories. We like to write about how this can be fixed in the story. I can't tell you how many people we have so many sources on this story. Between what we did, we had 3 reporters on this in our newsroom of 4 people. KTV, Alexandra Stone is just a killer reporter. And none of us got a really great conversation with anyone about what a solution could be here. I heard some sort of, not very well formed thoughts about, you can regulate them harder or something like that. You can, there's some laws, actually. Ohio is passing one that says that homes that are foreclosed upon have to first be offered up to single family, families or nonprofits or something like that before they can just go on the open market. California has a law a lot like that. I haven't looked at it too much, but that's 2 laws. One of them is only about to be passed. They're not really about the open market. They're about foreclosures. I hope that we get some ideas on that front, because when we were trying to reach out to people and ask, what is the fix here? We didn't get anything.
Yeah. We spoke to Terrell McKinney, and that just reminded me, he mentioned something about like housing laws, or I forget exactly what he said, but there's basically no real rules and no real regulation about rent prices, or there's nothing on the city or the state as far as regulating any of that, and not just necessarily regulating private developers, but just housing in general is kind of wide open, the Wild West, if you will.
I mean, I would trust Senator McKinney more than I would me, and I didn't understand that at all. So I should mention too, on Thursday we're having this thing at the Fabric Lab to talk about these issues, right? I think Senator McKinney was busy that day, but we're hoping some other senators and city councilwomen and other lawmakers there to talk about these issues. We'll be there to talk about what we learned in the story, but really that's just going to be a place for others to have this conversation, right? It's a conversation that needs to be had.
For sure. Manny by Town says town hall on gentrification and affordable housing this Thursday. State Senator Justin Wayne, real estate professional Angel N. Starks, urban planner Emmanuel Charles, Matt Wynn, Flatwater Free Press, and Councilwoman Juanita Johnson. Put some respect on her name. This Thursday, 6 p.m. at the Fabric Lab. So, we've been seeing the flyer and stuff for that. I believe I have that somewhere. Is that it right there?
Yeah.
There you go. So that 6 p.m. at the Fabric Lab. Definitely check that out. I use the term. I don't say gentrification a lot because I've learned that most of the time what's happening is more like colonization than it is gentrification. Because when it displaces people that are in those neighborhoods and brings people from outside the neighborhood in and changes things around, then it's more like colonization. Because we can be gentrifying our own areas and stand. You told this story in the beginning when you said what the companies come out here doing. It made me think about my sister who refuses all offers for her house, and how if you were underwater and you're having trouble with money and your roof is not exactly falling in, but it needs some shingles, and somebody comes in and gives you above the asking price, you might jump at that opportunity, and it might make sense for you to do that. Nobody can blame you for that. But at the same time, if you're not looking at the bigger picture, then and it's happening all over the place. If that happens all over the place, then you have what you have with this company. It sounds like to me. So one way to stop it is to understand that this is happening and decide that you're going to keep your home. But at the same time, each individual thing is what are people going to do when they get an offer like that? Perhaps they need to take it. So it kind of makes me nervous about how it can be stopped if we're talking about regulations after the fact, but it's also how they can't buy these houses in the first place unless people are selling them to them.
Right.
That part.
Yeah.
But I am curious. Have you looked in the data as far as are you able to see like?
Wait a minute, has he looked in the data? That's all this man. That's all he does.
I'm saying specifically the data of like the tenants. Like, can you see some of the demographics of the tenants that they?
No, I mean, you can see owner stuff, and I should be honest too, right? A lot of companies that do this sort of thing, Vinebrook is weird in that they list them all under the same company name. So this was a fairly straightforward story to do. There's a lot of companies that don't do that, right? Matt Wynn LLC, Matt Wynn 2 LLC, M-Dub LLC, right? I could do that and own hundreds of houses, and some schmo reporter would have no clue. So, there's probably a lot more of this than we're able to even see at this point. Now I just lost your question. I'm sorry. Have I looked at the data? So tenants, we can't see. If you rent a home, you don't, as far as I know, and maybe hopefully someone can educate on me on this if it's not true, but if you rent a home, you don't fill out a form, you don't file with the city. The only way I can know who lives in these houses is to go knock on the door and ask. And we did that. We went to dozens of these houses, and we did exactly that. That's how we talked to a lot of people in the story. But we can't know who they're renting out to, anything like that. I can tell you my experience knocking on a couple doors I did. There was one older gentleman. He had been there for a long time. He had actually had his landlord change after Vinebrook bought the house. There were three young women with young children under 5. That's what I saw. And a whole lot of these houses were empty, which is another thing that we didn't talk about in the story. But I find that interesting. I think that kind of goes to the idea that they haven't really, this isn't final yet. They're still filling these houses. There's still people getting people in there. This is not a fully formed plan.
Much to talk about this, man. We'll have to. There's so much going on in the chat. We'll have to go back and check out what they had to say in the chat. We'll have to have you back and talk about this some more. This is
anytime. I'll come any other day, whatever. This is something I'm excited about. So
it's a pretty extensive article. I definitely urge everyone to go check it out. Shout out to Star Trek Rich, who just dropped the link in the chat. So definitely do yourself a favor and look into that. So always doing the good work. I don't know where you want to take it from here.
Yeah, Paul. Man. Yeah, let's get going. We're gonna jump into the haps here and get out of here. But like I said, we'll have you back like on another day.
Say the word, man.
Besides Monday, so that we can get deep dive into the subject here. This is gonna be a huge one for us.
Yeah.
So appreciate you coming through, man. Good to see you.
Likewise. Later.
Peace. All right, Matt Wynn, Flatwater Free Press, y'all. That's what's going on. We'll take a quick break and come back and get situated here. And then guess what? It'll be time for the haps.
Man.
So get your shoulders warmed up. It's going down. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, all of you, the chat chimers, thank you very much. It's been a full day. We had representatives from the Reader, Flatwater Free Press, and Noise, and everybody has very, very interesting things that they're writing about and looking into and writing articles about. And all that stuff. Man, I love the partnerships with these organizations that are doing these deep dives, and that's what's really going on. So really appreciate everybody that's joined in, and man, the chat is going off. We definitely have to deep dive, look back into the chat, and see what you guys are talking about here. Obviously, this is a subject that we're going to have to bring Matt back and talk about in further detail. And I encourage everybody in the meantime to read the article. Like I said, Star Trek Rich put it in the chat there as a link. Definitely deep dive into that article, and then we'll do some more discussion about it a little later on. This might be one we need to have a roundtable about almost.
Man, I mean, definitely just kind of reading the writing on the wall, if you will. You got this company with this, seemingly infinite reservoir of cash. I mean, $2.4 billion in assets over the last 3 years. That's very aggressive. Where is that money coming from? Who and what is the end goal? Because like he said, their plan is to have rent prices go up, and they're investing mostly in low income areas, so they know those people can't afford that.
Right.
So again, colonization, gentrification, whatever you want to call it, does not bode well for those communities. So we definitely need to continue the conversation.
They got that distance too. They're out of town, so they don't have to even face the people.
Man,
in the neighborhoods that they're taking over.
Even eviction is automated, so you can't even call nobody. So it really is this a self-running automated machine that they are just ringing people through, man.
There you go. Hey, it's time for the haps. We got about 3 minutes left in the broadcast, so let's talk about a few things that's going on here. We're going to have an extensive haps all week long because all the things that are going on. Thanks for everybody that has been telling us about the stuff that you have done, and get your haps ready for the stuff that you are going to do. So we love to hear about that, and definitely we'll big that up on the show. Buddy, got any haps for the peoples?
Oh, well, of course, we've been talking about it throughout the show, but reminding the people that the Poor People's Campaign is heating back up. Again, the March on Washington on June 18th, 2022. This is in support of mass poor peoples and low-wage workers across the country. Mobilizing, organizing, registering, educating, and empowering is all the goals. If you would like to join this effort, you can check it out at poorpeoplescampaign.org. Again, that's poorpeoplescampaign.org. Of course, this is a continuation of the great work that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was on when he passed. Sparking the poor people's movement and joining that movement. So again, let's continue the work and support our workers.
Also, what we were just talking about, North Omaha's residential reckoning, talking about gentrification. It's a town hall panel discussion that'll have some heavy hitters on the panel. It's going to be at the Fabric Lab right there on 24th Street, 2514 North 24th. This is May 26th, so 3 days from now, 6 p.m. This is the Flatwater Forum in participation with Fabric Lab and forurban.org. Definitely go get your voice heard there. Let's talk about it. And I encourage you to read that article by Flatwater Free Press before you go, so that we can all be on the same page and talk about those things when you're there for sure.
Yep. Also, big shout out to Kietryn Zychal for bringing this to our attention. This Thursday, May 26th, will be the Omaha Charter Convention. So again, if anyone is interested in having their voices heard at that event, this will be Thursday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Again, the doors will be locked at 5 p.m., so you have to ring the buzzer to be let in. But again, Omaha City Charter is the constitution of the city, and the charter requires citizen-led review at least every 10 years. So definitely make sure that you citizens are able to have your voices heard and have input on the city's constitution.
That's right. We're going to get out of here. We got about 1 minute left. Little lightning round here. Don't forget, today it's going down. Terrace Martin is going to be in town. Martin Family Trio tickets going to be on sale. Check out Friends of First Sky Omaha, where I'll release it first. And then you can go buy tickets from the Benson Theater Facebook page as well. The tickets are going to be on sale at bensontheater.org. So you'll definitely check that out over there. But yes, you're hearing it here first. Martin Family Trio is coming. And also don't forget about the reunion of Verbal Gumbo. Kietryn Zychal says she already bought her tickets. This is going to be an epic event. Felicia, with love, Felicia is coming back to town. You know, she's living in Detroit now, so she's coming on back through so we can do the reunion of Verbal Gumbos, happening also at the Benson Theater June 16th on a Thursday night, like the old days when we used to do it at the House of Loom. So it's coming on through. Lots more to come. We'll have an extensive Haps Wednesday and Friday so that we can talk about even more things that's going on, because there's a lot happening this summer, and we need to be a part of it. So with that said, we're going to get out of here, buddy. You got some words for the people?
Man, big shout out to first of all, nice, meeting, and big shout out to Arjav for coming through. Again, Arjav Rawal, new journalist over at The Reader. Of course, always a pleasure speaking with Miss Kietryn Zychal of Noise, and of course, brother Matt Wynn of Flatwater Free Press. Make sure you check out and support all of those platforms. As you can see, they are doing the good work, doing the deep dive investigative journalism, and also coming up with some solutions that the people need. So not only telling you the problems, but point you in the direction to solve them. So big shout out to them for always coming. Now, of course, big shout out to you, especially everyone who's chiming into the chat, all the chat chimers out there. We love and appreciate y'all. But even the first time listeners, last time listeners, the ghost listeners out there that's just living their lives, doing their thing, trying to soak up the game. We appreciate y'all, man. So until next time, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away.
Mr. Fell says my coffee isn't working, so I'm gonna wish y'all a magical Monday now. Thank you everyone for starting my day with thought. Drink water and keep your space. Appreciate that. Larry Keith just says, keep it up. Love the guests. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you too. Cannot do this without y'all. So really appreciate y'all. Brooks says, great show as usual. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who is joined in on the chat. I mean, this group conversation is what it's all about. So thank you to the chat chimers and everyone else. I want to give thanks to the Umaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. I want to give a shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. Shout out to Star Trek Rich and the crew here at Weberized.com. Definitely check them out if you have podcast ideas. And thanks to everyone who is a reoccurring member of the channel as well. So if you're not, please go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button, become a reoccurring member. That's how we keep this conversation going. We have $10 members, $25 members, $50 members, whatever you can afford. We appreciate it. It's all about trying to keep the conversation going and doing some things here coming up. Excuse me. We have 3 or 4 weeks left in the season, and then we'll be getting together very soon too. And we'll definitely have a rap party. We're talking about what we're going to do for that. So that's definitely coming up. We really enjoyed being around everybody in person and would love to do that again. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for more haps, more stories, more conversations to come. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you Wednesday when we got Michelle Trotsclair in her soapbox moment. and we'll be politicking with P. Precious McKesson, history making P in the house. So it's going down, and we'll see you then. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red